Well, as Prime Minister Narendra Modi's historic state visit to the US gets underway, one area that is taking center stage is ICET, or the Initiative on Critical and Emerging Technologies, a framework launched by Jake Sullivan and Ajit, Doval, the national security advisors of the US and India, in January this year. ICET is now set to be the organizing framework for the India-US relationship, and one that is setting the agenda for the PM Modi President Biden summit at the White House. With the objective of building a defense innovation bridge between India and the US India Business Council is hosting Indus-X, a new platform designed to accelerate collaboration between defense startups, the governments, academia, and major investors from the two countries. This event is being held on the 20th and 21st of June on the sidelines of Prime Minister Modi's state visit. The primary goal is to take the bilateral relationship into the uncharted territory of jointly working on defense innovation. We can expect the announcement of a joint innovation fund and a joint working group to bring together the defense startup ecosystems of the two countries. Former US Ambassador to India, Atul Keshav, is the president of the US India Business Council, which is hosting Indus-X. Keshav says, Indus-X is a direct outgrowth of ICET. Both India's Defense Ministry and the US Department of Defense have asked us to host a gathering of defense startups in the two countries. The NSAs of India and the US are deeply invested in Indus-X. He goes on to say ICET is as important as the nuclear deal. When you think about how both countries are worried about geostrategic currents, working together on future tech and deep tech is really important. In an unmistakable reference to common adversary China, Atul Keshav has said, great democracies need to show deterrent strength. If you have strong deterrence, the other guy will think twice before starting something. Scores of American and Indian startups, as well as high-ranking government officials from both sides, including US Ambassador to India Eric Garcetti, will participate in this two-day event. This comes at a time when some path-breaking defense deals between the two countries are expected to be signed when President Biden and Prime Minister Modi meet. Therefore, we are asking, is this a new era of defense partnership between India and the US? And can this critical aspect redefine the bilateral relationship? Vice Admiral Shekhar Sinha, if I could start with you, sir. Not only through Indus-X is an attempt being made to bring the defense ecosystems of the two countries together, but we're actually expecting some pretty path-breaking defense deals to be signed when Prime Minister Modi meets President Biden at the White House. Of course, uppermost in everyone's mind is the Predator drone deal, and then, of course, the much talked about fighter jet engine and technology transfer deal. Do you believe that this visit could prove to be a game changer for the defense partnership between the two countries, and that could redefine the relationship itself?
Well, namaskar, Neha ji, and thank you very much for getting me on your program. If you go back to what President Biden mentioned to his staff before Jack Sullivan started talking to our own NSA, Ajit Doval, he mentioned that please see that all the hurdles are removed to take our partnership to the next higher level. And I think that is the sort of operative sentence which everybody has followed. And thereafter, there was a series of visits. We have had the General Electric senior people coming here and talking to HAL engine division for the co-production of the 414 engine. As you know, Neha, and I'm sure your viewers know, that India does not produce any aircraft jet engines for any type of aircraft. And that is a big handicap for us for making our own fighter aircraft and sustaining it over a period of time, and where we become an exporting nation. And therefore, I think this is a very big event as far as transfer of technology is concerned. It may not happen to 100% technology transfer immediately, but I'm sure 70 to 80% can be transferred. More than that, Neha, it is the ecosystem which is created for making that jet engine. There are so many small components, and they will have to be built by some private sector, some MSMEs, and therefore is going to be a very sort of a big project. That's number one. So you're quite right. After this, we will be able to go beyond the Tejas Mark II. We will be able to go beyond and manufacture our AMCA, the advanced, the medium range, medium combat aircraft, and many more, I guess, once you start developing on the 414 engine. Second one, you mentioned about Predator. Yes, you are absolutely right. Predator is a drone which is an armed drone, and the initially it is going to be an outright purchase because it is going to be very difficult to transfer the technology such a miniaturized form, and that takes a long time. So this is going to give us an extra fillip to our reconnaissance and immediate attack capability, which we don't have at the moment. 15 of them are coming to the Navy, so therefore the maritime takes a priority. That is where the drone issue started to begin with, from 2611 onwards, and thereafter the drones were used, and also the P8 was used for surveillance all along the India China border. So the importance and its the necessity is very much there, and this is going to help us a great deal in holding on to the Chinese skirmishes and maybe getting to know it well in advance, apart from the maritime role. Neha.
Very interesting indeed. Group Captain Rajiv Narang, Senior Fellow at the Institute for Defence Studies and Analysis, also is with us. So let me come to you now. Earlier I was talking to former Foreign Secretary Ambassador Shashank, who said that he has no doubt in his mind that, the defence deals that are on the cards are likely to be a game changer for India and for the Indo-U.S. relationship. In fact, there are many who are saying that, never before has the United States gone so far as to share this crown jewel in its defense capabilities with a non-ally. But it's willing to do that in the case of India. Do you also believe, sir, that these defense deals that we are hoping will be inked during this visit are in fact going to be a game changer for India's armed forces?
Thank you, Neha. I think what is important is devil lies in details. When India is developing these, India has been using G404 on LCA Mark 1 and 1A, and we had a reasonably good experience, but there were no transfer of technology. But now when we are talking, we have very huge number of engines requirement. You look at LCA Mark II, there is a twin engine deck-based fighters, and there is a advanced medium combat aircraft. And these aircraft have to last very long. And this part is understood by the global engine manufacturers, whether be it GE, be it Rolls-Royce, or be it the French manufacturers. So it's an opportunity for India as well as for the global OEMs to establish a long-term relationship. If you look at the transfer of technology, there are three elements of those technologies. Do we get an opportunity to be part of the design part when we look at AMCA, which is a little higher power engine more than the G414? Because we want specifically for AMCA super cruise capability, which will require higher thrust than the existing G414, which means that there will be some sort of co-development or upgradation or modification required. So will the Indian engineers be involved? If we have that, then we are heading for a much broader collaboration, which will be much longer, because these engines, as they become part of design, Indians become part of design team, this is going to be a huge industry, because we will have large number of aircraft being inducted in the Indian fighter stream. Now, the byproducts of these deals are transport aircraft, our trainer aircraft. Those are also being developed. So the benefits of those technologies can percolate down to those sectors also. But the devil is, what are the terms of transfer development of AMCA engine? What are the terms of TOT? If we talk of G414, are we going to get an freedom to upgrade, modify, and export? If we are going to get that, then it's a path-breaking deal. G has already indicated, given some indication that it is going to share coating and machining machines of single crystal blade, machining and coating of hot engine parts, blink machine technology, right, machining of powder metallurgy, polymer metric composites, and laser drilling of combustion area. So these technologies are first step in technology development. The second step is upgradation, improvement, and the second further development. Uh, in case of co-development, the critical part is joint intellectual property rights and manufacturing in India. Is it going to be concurrent manufacturing in India, or is it going to be manufacturing in India and US becoming a common using the common manufacturing facility? As regards to when you look at Reaper drill, simultaneously India is also working on a Tapas and an Archer NG. So India has very high expectations from these deals, that we will have these deals will give us an indication as to what is the future trajectory of India-US technological collaborations. Now, when you
Absolutely.
look at these things, US on the policy front has taken many initiatives, but in real sense, it has not transformed into a real partnership. In 2012, we signed the DTTI, Defense Technology and Trade Initiative.
Right.
And the aim was to simplify technology transfer and exploring possibilities for co-development and co-production. And in 2023, we again have a roadmap for defense technology industrial cooperation, in which co-development and co-production has become a part of uh, our enhanced cooperation.
Right.
Only one initiative where we moved forward was where our one of the industry has worked on a project, innovation project with the US. So I think initially in the past we
You're right,
had
sir.
not.
You're right. God is definitely in the detail, and we'll really have to wait and see, how these deals shape up. There is no doubt that up to now, technology transfer has been a sore point between these two countries. Is that now going to change with these latest defense deals? I guess we will find out once the details are shared. Kanish Gaur, let me come to you now. Let's now talk about ICET and Indus-X. We know that the framework has been established by the national security advisors of the two countries. It is under the aegis of the US Business India Council, and within the ICET framework, that this event called Indus-X is being held. But if you could just explain to our viewers, why is this event so significant, and why has the need been felt to bring together the defense ecosystems of the two countries, and that too, in a sense that, in a way that's going to be led by the private sector?
Thanks, Neha. So I think IDEX is one program which the Ministry of Defense has been driving for modernizing the Indian defense, which is primarily focusing on innovation in the defense sector. Now, this program has been successful in generating local startups which work in the space of drones, which work in the space of satellite, but we lack big investors who could invest and take these startups globally. At the same time, because of the war that has happened, the Indian supply chain on the defense side has taken a toll. So, modernizing our infantry, modernizing our missile systems, modernizing our tanks is become tough. So, India is looking at creating more partnerships, which is beyond its current partners, and taking a shift, moving away from its traditional partners to working with new partners, which includes France and now United States of America. There is also a need felt in United States of America that India could be its one close ally, where there could be joint development in the space of missiles, in the space of drones. And there is an emerging need because the Chinese are moving way ahead when it comes to missile technology, when it comes to energy focused missile technology. So that's one of the key. So there is a common threat factor which comes from China, which is impacting both US and India, and there is big requirement for moving on some of these technologies. So this partnership is the requirement of the hour. That's why this is happening. And United States has one of the biggest investors in the defense sector. And if you look at some of the other tech sectors, US has been one of the largest investors, be it emerging technology, be it digital media, but the defense sector hasn't really opened up as far as the India market is come. So the ease in doing business, removing restrictions, sanctions, that will play a very, very important role. So this partnership will help India establish similar partnerships it has done in the past with Russia, like the BrahMos system that was set up around missile. We could see that replicating in other sectors, which could be drones, satellite interception, satellite communication. That those are some of the new areas where we see the US and India could work closely together. Some of the other areas where we see a big focus is information warfare, Internet of Things, psychological operations. So some of those aspects will also require greater focus. And as the two NSAs met in the past, there was greater need established on why this needs to be done. So I think this is a new strategic partnership which will enable both countries to fight common enemies and also enable India to work closely with the US in Quad and the new partnership which has been offered through G7, which is called as the G7 Plus, right? And as India leading G20, some of these aspects will also see movement forward. India has been a leader in digital public infrastructure, but as far as the defense sector is concerned, US is the global market leader in terms of producing defense tech and also exporting. So this partnership is meant to create larger impact in India and also serve India's need to countering its enemies who are today creating a larger fear factor with India.
Right. Let me go back to Vice Admiral Sinha at this point. Vice Admiral Sinha, even though there are many who believe that there is a distinct China angle to the defense deals that we are now likely to witness between India and the US. But there are those who also argue that the US administration has been keen to shore up defense ties with India, primarily in the hope to pull India away from its security dependence on Russia. If I could just share some figures with our viewers, Russia continues to be India's biggest arms supplier, which is, of course, a big concern for the American government. But Russia's share in India's arms market has dropped significantly from 62% in 2017 to 45% in 2022. The US is India's third largest arms supplier. So, how do you see these arguments that are being made by some?
Well, Neha, see, the point is that it is not it's not a sort of hidden fact that we were dependent on Russia. And from the time the Soviet Union has sort of broken down and it has gone into a large number of other states, there have been occasions when the logistic support to our legacy items, the existing items, has become very difficult from the other states than Russia. Because if it is Russian manufactured or Soviet manufactured, the components and many parts of these platforms are actually manufactured in outside Russia. And those countries may or may not have a very good equation with Russia. As you know, that I'll just give you one example, that the stealth frigate that we got from Russia, the Talwar and Turkish class, the last two ships were completely ready in Kaliningrad, but it could not be transferred to India because the engines were made in Ukraine. And we all know what is the relationship of the Ukraine with Russia. Ukraine just refused to sell these or to transfer these to Russia. And therefore, we had to work very hard to get a third country, which is Poland, that first the engines were transferred to Poland and then to Kaliningrad, and thereafter the ship got sort of operationalized. So these problems are only multiplying. And now with Ukraine-Russia conflict never seem to be ending, I would think that this is only going to become even more critical. It is essential for India not to keep all its weapon systems, at least the newer weapon systems, in one basket. We have already started diversifying. We got a lot of equipment, electronic equipment and missile kind of thing from, in collaboration with Israel. And now we are gradually moving towards the American equipment. Now, this is again not a hidden fact that Secretary Blinken made a statement once in a forum in the US that we cannot tell India to get away from Russian, purchasing list till we provide them the alternate.
Exactly.
And this is an open policy of America. So there is nothing wrong if you have to buy. But what is important here, Neha, that Americans have agreed to do co-production in India,
Yeah.
which also helps us, in making our ecosystem, the MSMEs to grow,
Yeah.
and subsequently the transfer of technology becomes that much more, easy.
Yes.
Subsequently, as you said, China is the main. Not really. If you see, India never mentions about officially on any forum about China. But we have a problem with China on the border. We have, almost a stalemate. And it is only a matter of time when their navy, when once it has 3, 4 operational aircraft carriers, they will very much be in the South China Sea, in the Indian Ocean. So the point is that while we still have time, we must build our ability to fight back anybody who becomes threatening either on land border or at sea. And somebody just mentioned that 80% of even China's oil actually transits through Indian Ocean. And they will be fully justified to keep their navy here, saying that
Yes.
we want to secure this, the sea lanes of communication. And
Yes.
but if we say we have the right to freedom of navigation, so are the so are the Chinese. So
Yes.
therefore, the chances of conflict are much higher,
Yeah.
and you have some handle on the Chinese trade. If the pressure on the land borders become very high, you have somewhere we can harass the crude oil shipping of China and make them review their decision to pressurize India on the land border. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, gentlemen, I'm completely out of time, but of course, we'll have to wait and see if these important defense deals that we are hoping will be signed between the two sides are likely to reduce India's dependence on Russian arms supplies. And the bigger question is, could these deals redefine the relationship between India and the United States? I guess we will find out the answer in the coming days. All eyes will be on this historic state visit of Prime Minister Modi to the United States. On that note, Group Captain Rajiv Narang, Vice Admiral Shekhar Sinha and Kanish Gaur, thank you to all of you for joining us on the show. It's a wrap. Thanks to the viewers for watching.